The guy said to me one time, he says, do you just like controversy? And he's trying to be controversial himself while saying this. At the time I never realised why he was saying this. I was just trying to mind my own business and do my own thing. Associate my own friends. But that really triggers people. They don't like independent minds. They don't like people standing up for what they do. They don't like people not becoming one of the crowd that they were coerced in because they weren't strong enough to fight against it, or they weren't smart enough, or they weren't, whatever it may be, enough to resist. They don't feel enough, they feel inadequate, and they will take that out on you, and they will gang up with others to pull you down, to silence you, to destroy you, to claw, bite and narrow and chew you to bits until you are no more. The crab mentality. And that's very unfortunate, but that is the way it is. And that's what these people do. Well, these people are society, these people are the population at large. These are your co-workers, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Your camaraden, your compatriots, and your comrades. That's who these people are. And they'll stop at nothing if they think that you're being too independent and you're not cowing to the same pressures that they are. They will gang up on you, they will be jealous, they will be green-eyed, they will be glowing green, like they've just swallowed a radioactive substance. They will glow, and it's the same everywhere. And I think in this day and age people are growing tired of that, especially people between the ages of 25 and 35. They're at a certain age where they've grew up without internet, but they've had internet at a fairly early age. But the internet they were provided with wasn't as pervasive or so in your face as it is today. So they were able to work with that and use it as a big encyclopedia, use it to connect with others. And I think these people, although they are especially between, I say 25 and 35, but if you look at the top range of that, between 30 and 35, I think we're going to see incredible things from these people in the next 3.5 years, the next 5 to 6 years, the next 7 years. I think we will, and I think we're starting to see the shoots of that. Definitely, that's what I fully believe. I think that when our grandparents were growing up, they had so much opportunities. The industry was strong still before they ruined it. Not them, but their sons and daughters ultimately, our parents. And they could go for a job here, they could go for a job there. It was all word of mouth. There was no such thing as you have to send 4 emails before you get an email back, and then you need 2 telephone calls to do another email, and then you get an interview and then they tell you sorry, access denied, when you've already spent all your time on one particular application. And it's very disheartening, and it puts you right off because it's so time consuming. Whereas back in the day it's like, here's a job, aye, alright, or no, but up the streets looking for one. And I think this is what's happened. But societal pressure is a thing that's extremely interesting, and I think in some ways it's coming to a head, and in some ways it's changing. I think it's very interesting that these things happen to align with a planetary conjunction we just seen the other day. it's amazing. I mean, I think the last one I seen of them, it wasn't as big as this. This was 6 different planetary objects coinciding at one time. The last one I noticed of this was back in, I think it was 2021. Don't quote me on this, it could have been end of 2020. Yeah, I think it was the end of 2020. And it was a conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn. And the last time that had happened before this time was back when Christ was being born. And that's the star that the 3 wise men were following. And that's what happened then. So I wonder what happened in 2020, but I do think there was positive changes that happened at that time, especially with the amount of negative stuff that was happening. Not to go too esoteric or start talking too much about astrology, but I think that there's definitely palpable changes here in our societies about these things that you can observe and see, and I think it's highly interesting. And now this happened, I think it was over the course of Saturday and Sunday, and then on Tuesday you had a blood moon, which is significant, and there's large populations of people on earth that really observe these things in a big way. When I was young, I just wanted to sit and play, build dens, and everybody wanted you to play football, which I didn't particularly want to do. I wanted to use my brain. I wanted to build dens and tree houses and underground bunkers and stuff like that. That was what I just wanted to do when I was young. But you get told, no, pick a football team, pick a religion, pick some politics, mash them all together, and then be opposed to these other folk. It doesn't matter what it is, that's what they're doing. It's divide and rule. Not divide and conquer, they've already conquered us. It's divide and rule. And that's what they're doing. That's what they've done. That's what they continue to do. Because we continue just to accept it. And that goes back to what I said at the start of the video. People hate independent thinkers. And I'd imagine they hate independent thinkers that stick together. It's a nice piece of engineering in the background there. It's dark, but it's fairly cloudy in the sky, but it's otherwise quite a nice night. It's quite mild. There's some lights there. Looks like a big microchip, doesn't it? Strange, I was just thinking that. But we've only got one life. We're only here on this planet for 10. If we're lucky, if we look after ourselves, if we're not silly. So what do we do? Because what echoes in life what we do in life echoes in eternity.